the future of game stores.
Ooh.
And also the current state of GameStop.
Got it. So future of game stores. So I think what I see in this a lot is, as much as we talked about earlier, GameStop has been a meme of like sometimes what they'll pay you and stuff, this and that. But I think with the success that GameStop has, there's been a lot of talk about how game stores aren't surviving. We've talked about it before with physical and digital. And I know you guys said you had a long conversation earlier that we weren't a part of GameStop or stores failing, not surviving current market. What are they doing wrong? What are they doing right? I want to hear from you guys because you guys told us you're having that conversation, but we didn't get to be a part of that.
Yeah, and Rick and I talked quite a bit just behind the scenes about, when he was buying the store and stuff, we talked a little bit. And so we've always chatted just about stores in general, but we were talking about GameStop. And I don't know. I've been thinking about it recently, like the future of where they're at. And I have no hate against GameStop. I mean, they actually send us like a bunch of business. I've never even really considered them competition. Okay. But when I go into any of those stores now, I mean, there is no inventory of physical games.
Wow, brutal.
I did hear just the other day, I had a customer come into the shop that, whether this is true or not, said they're not taking PS4 games anymore. That's what I heard, which I don't know. I heard that. So I can't verify that. But I mean, when I go in there, again, no physical games. Just how long can they actually, continue the way they are? I've read numbers that they're losing like $600 million a year, something like that.
So what are they doing wrong as opposed to you guys opening new stores? Your store's doing great. What are they doing wrong that is causing this?
They seem so out of touch with the gamer market. Like when we're talking games and what we're doing, we're talking about like, hey, people seem like they like comics now. Maybe we should sell comics or vintage T-shirts, or like really in tune with the collectibles markets and what people seem interested in. And sometimes things people aren't interested in anymore, and we'll just stop selling those. GameStop, I don't know if it's because they're just in a corporate headquarters in Texas and so out of tune with the gamer market, or maybe their CEO is out of touch with what's going on, but they just seem not very adaptable to markets and what's really people want.
I think you have to pivot for sure. Like there's a larger chain of like retro game stores in where I live, and for the longest time half their store was DVDs.
Wow.
So they're like 60% video games and then 50% DVDs, and it's like people aren't buying Billy Madison on DVD anymore. It's like you have to
Ricky and I
on DVD.
Why not?
Do you know Ricky?
Would you buy it? Would you buy it for $5?
No.
Maybe $1.
Yes.
Right.
$1.
So I think especially with where everything is moving towards digital and things like that, you have to adapt differently to like what are you bringing to the table for your consumers as they walk into the door. So like as soon as I bought the store, I incorporated toys, movies, VHS, and vintage shirts. And my employees that were already there previously were like, "What are we doing? We don't know how to do any of this stuff."
Yep.
And I'm like, "I know, but this is where we're moving towards."
Just to hop in on that, every time I've introduced something new into the store, my employees are like, "This is the dumbest idea ever. This is never going to work.
So
like, why are we going to sell?"
Were any of them dumb ideas?
Let me think if there was some.
Which of those was an actual
you know what
dumb
the
idea?
funniest one was, which was not even that dumb. Remember when spinners, the little spinner things, fidget spinners?
Yeah, baby.
I remember they were. My son was little at the time, and he was like, "Dad, these fidget spinners are awesome." And I was like, "Where do we buy them?" And he was like, "I can't get them anywhere." And we went to like a 7-Eleven. The guy was like, $25, and I was like, "We're buying fidget spinners," and we bought fidget spinners, and we started selling them in store. And my guys were like, they made like meme videos of us spinning fidget spinners, and then that died very quickly.
Yeah.
But we caught the wave for like a quick second.
I think there needs to be a store that is called Trends, and they literally have something for 3 months that's popular, then they sell all of it, and then they get to the next trend.
That's
they
a
sell
cool
it
idea.
literally
Cool.
that.
Why would you
for
say
3
that
months.
verbally?
I got a game store already. I'm not doing it.
You're tapped out.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, I just think you have to know your market. You have to be listening so closely and not be afraid to do this. Because so like our store that we bought was like, dude, 40% tabletop games.
Yep.
I don't have like the passion for tabletop
You have
games.
nothing wrong because they do appear at like conventions and stuff.
Yeah.
as well.
And there is a huge
there's a market
when
for
you go to most
tabletop.
conventions, one of the recent ones I went to,
Yeah.
that tabletop area was booming.
Yeah.
But I tried selling tabletop in my store for a while, and it did not seem to complement video games and the figures and everything. Not that there's not. I thought there would be a clear overlap between those
But
two,
there wasn't.
but for some reason there wasn't. I don't know. They sat on a shelf and we didn't sell them, and so that was one that after a while I was like, all right, we're not going to sell tabletop games.
And we have some people come in and buy them, but overall, I mean, we did the due diligence. We looked at the numbers and we're like, oh, we're not making very much. That's retail space. That is a X amount of space on the floor, but we could be putting, vintage X-Men or whatever, and those would sell that, and they are selling. So we have to experiment.
I think about it all the time, like with GameStop, because I'm like, man, if GameStop, there was a period of time where GameStop was selling retro games.
Yep.
And that was one period where I was like, okay, I'm a little bit nervous here. Like they might
Because if they
over
maximize it and become the best.
If they became the best at selling retro games, we would not exist. I feel like they have 4,500 something stores across the whole world. They have the big brand name. Like they really could have dominated that market. They tried it. The last I've heard, that's completely shut down. I don't even know if you can. They sell them online. Do you know, Ricky?
I think there was too much. Like there was too many bootlegs, and they were just getting bootlegs, so they were getting ripped off.
So they've completely have they shut that down? I think
I don't
they
know.
have.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they have yet 100%.
I've heard in some instances where people have actually went into GameStop and was able to buy retro games by asking.
I think they might still take like the Mario versions of Wii, maybe like Super Mario Wii games, and maybe Super Mario like Nintendo games.
Okay,
But if they were to literally, I know I don't think GameStop is listening, but if they were to like adopt what we do and basically be like, you know what, we're going to do all the things you guys are doing, I feel like they would just crush the market.
I was going to say, ring, Chris, we want you to be the phone call. We want you to manage. We want you to lead up GameStop. What you walk in tomorrow? What do you do?
I would turn it instantly into what Rick and my stores are.
Really?
And I feel like people would flood back to those GameStops.
What would be first to integrate in?
Retro games. Right back. Nintendo, Super
Straight up
Nintendo.
games.
Yeah, Nintendo.
Shocking.
Like, literally showcases in the GameStops of Nintendo, Super Nintendo games. And you will get people that will flood right back in.
I think
they just don't do it.
I think people too, have you seen those memes that people are like, they say things like, imagine one day people are going to say, what if we just put a bunch of stores in one big building and you can shop in real life, like a mall, literally like a mall, because they're all dying.
Yeah.
Like in 20 years, they're going to be like, that's going to be genius. We should do that.
Yeah.
It'll all come back. It'll be like, that'll be a new experience. And I think even people are like, what's going to happen to retro game stores whenever physical media starts to take over? I think they're going to be stronger than ever because people are going to want to be able to still have that opportunity. But I'm saying not even come back. There won't be another opportunity because if PS7 or PS8 is literally all
break up the names.
If they are all digital, people are still going to want the experience of buying physical product in some way or shape or form.
I feel ripped off with all the digital stuff because what are you going to trade in? You buy it for the same price, but you don't get squat. You get a download that could, if something happens to your PlayStation, wipes out, that's it.
You just hit a great point because you told me earlier how devastating it is for you when someone trades in a DS and they got 70 games.
They have a 3DS
downloaded.
Nothing.
We wipe everything. We wipe
Zero.
it all
They
from
ask
And
how
they
much
spent
money.
all that money, and it means it's
I get it
nothing.
all the time. How much do I get for these downloaded games? And I'm like, I'm sorry, zero. We give you nothing for
So
any
you
of
want
it.
the next person to have all your information.
Yeah.
That's up to you. Yeah.
What is one of the biggest challenges that you face when owning a store?
Don't do it.
Not advice. Biggest challenge. Biggest day-to-day challenge.
Managing people like employees is difficult. Like that for me now. The stores run pretty well. It's more I feel like I'm managing people, and I have great employees. I love my employees so much. But they're people. They get sick. They have things that happen. They want to move on. They have a bad day. They yelled at a customer.
They're real life humans.
They're real life human
They're not
beings.
AI.
They're not
Yet.
AI. So managing just people in general, and people on the other side too. Customers. Customer has an issue, dealing with that.
Yeah.
But the stores generally run pretty smooth for me.
And I'm still in that process of where I like things to be very specific, certain way, a certain look, a certain vibe, and I literally can't be there all the time. And we're talking about games slipping. Games are slipping all the time. I mean, my friends are like, dude, my friends do this. Like, what's your game store? You had North and South.
This week alone, someone at your store priced North and South for $4.99. It's a
$50 game.
$50 game. And our buddy Ben back there, who's hiding out in the back, he bought a Wavebird with dongle at your store for like $40 or something.
Ben, you owe me $50, Ben.
So I mean, how does that sit with you guys when you trust your employees? You can only do so much.
Yeah.
Do you mentally?
You
You can't dock them, but mentally be like a mental like, oh, it's kind of a
I
strike.
have never yelled at an employee that I have for underpricing something one time.
Got
Never.
it.
Even if like it was a $300 game and they price it for $5, I'd be like, well, let's not do
Well,
that
you
again.
can't because you yourself lost freaking
Clay
fighter
fighters.
sculptor's cut in your own store.
Yo, a
That
dagger.
is true. But I never, there's a lot of arbitrary numbers.
Yeah.
Not everything has a set price in our system, so you have to look stuff up. And people make mistakes, and I've never been upset about that.
It's just coaching moments.
Yeah,
every
just
time.
coaching. It's like,
You have
okay, well,
to.
this is what you should do. You kind of messed up on that, but I've never been upset at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's the ones they caught. What about the ones they haven't caught?
Oh yeah.
You know, there's probably
Stop
some.
it.
Oh, sorry.
You know it's true though. You
No,
know it's true though.
we had a great customer came up to the counter and was like, "Here, man," hands me Mega Man X priced at $39.99, but it wasn't Mega Man X. It was Mega Man X3.
3. That's a tiny little 3 on there, but you should know by the front
Wow.
label.
Remember
I
when we
know
went
they
to
did
Chris's
Yeah.
store and he's like, "Yeah, we have broken consoles for $20." And I'm like, "Cool, man. I'll take this N64 with the red expansion pack inside." All right, man. He was like, "But good news, he still honored it."
I still gave
What
it
a
to you,
scumbag
right?
Emperor accepted that.
All right, I'm gonna end on a pretty good story with Chris. I know this kind of goes within the game store. You talked about when you were possibly gonna potentially sell your store back in the day when you were moving over into California. Do you want to kind of dive into that?
Yeah, when I had, I was telling Rick this story earlier too, but when I had originally moved out to California, I was contemplating selling the stores. I'd put them up for sale through a broker. There
Just
was-
the ones on
in
the East
Connecticut.
Coast?
Yeah, so
And,
there was 3 of
with
them.
the plan of opening more here?
No, originally I didn't know if I was going to open more.
You were
out
debating
here.
just being out.
Just selling, being out, and being done with it, and maybe figuring out something
yeah.
else to do out here in California.
Male stripper? Yeah, go ahead. What?
Would have failed at that too.
Not with Curtis as your client.
Curtis would have kept me afloat. But it was the story was really that at the time I had one competitor who's a similar competitor that you have that I did. He was really the only one that was interested in potentially buying it. Made sense. I did let him come in behind the doors, behind the counter, and I had to open up the books and explain everything that we did. And at the time, they only sold DVDs and games, pretty much. We were selling figures, comics, Pokemon cards, everything. And I was a little bit worried. I remember telling the broker, I was like, "Hey, I'm a little bit worried about bringing my competitor behind." But he
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, listen, you want to sell your business? This is what you have to do."
Yeah.
I was like, "Man, I really don't feel good about this." Well, 4 months later, what did they start selling in their store? Pokemon cards, comics, action figures, all of that stuff.
Diversified.
Yeah, so they came in, which, hey, business is business. I mean, I let them behind there to show what we did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was just an interesting story that they did go ahead and do that. I think
And then, is that what made you decide not to sell it?
they never made an offer. No,
Oh,
I probably would have sold it to them at the time, but they never did. So-
Really?
and they've since kind of over-diversified
Yes.
this company. You said they were selling some stuff.
Yeah, power tools. Laptops, iPods.
Book off.
Who is book?
It literally anything that you can like buy and resell. Basically, they're
So you wake up tomorrow morning with a demand letter on your door, one or the other, chopping block. Game Store goes tomorrow or YouTube goes tomorrow. Which one is it? Gone.
what?
That's it. What are you picking?
They go hand in hand, man.
No, one's got to go.
I don't know if I can pick.
I feel like I know which one you would pick.
You're gonna pick. You don't want to pick, do you?
I don't want to pick. I guess I would probably lean now. Like this is crazy, but I would probably lean towards Game Store now.
I
would keep
thought
the
you were
Game
going to
Store.
say that.
Keeping Game Store.
I would keep in the Game Store.
Wow, and fire
literally
me, huh?
as a literally as a like a long term, like more like sacrificially for like my family, because it's like I don't know how long YouTube's it's so volatile, man. Like people, it's like I could not post for a year. People be like, oh yeah, I'm moving on with Cody with a K. You know what I mean? It's like there's just so many great YouTubers. It's like
Cody with a K is great, by the way.
got a great.
Yeah, even when I was talking to the higher ups at YouTube, I mean, these guys are making money on YouTube, and it's still they don't know.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm hot. I'm doing this, and then I'm not. So see ya. Nobody cares anymore.
Last question. Who has the better game store?
Whoa. I haven't been to Rick's store.
Ricky, you have to answer.
Oh, man.
Oh wow.
Ricky has to
Messed
answer.
up.
You have to answer.
Whoa.
Hey, forget them
Wait,
being our friends. Just
Are we?
answer,
Do
bro.
we have to answer too?
Yeah.
Or is it just?
Yeah, you can.
I haven't been to Rick's store, so I can't.
I can answer first.
Who's is
Go
it?
ahead.
I think they're both.
What a wuss answer.
They are.
What a
no,
wuss
I was gonna
answer.
say.
Here we go.
Well, because we made 2 videos today over at the stores, and like his is set up such a like I see it, and I'm like, man, I wish the store could look like this as a retail space, like because the retail, he's got the high shelves that have so much retail space, and where ours is almost more of a destination, like that's more the focus is
Got
like
it.
we have museum, like we have walls that like literally we could have retail space.
Whose was better?
So I think his as a retail space is better. I think mine as a destination is better.
What a stupid answer. I'm going to say Chris because he lives locally and I get way better discounts. Because if I say yours is better, you get to benefit me like once a year.
Okay.
So I'm going him so I can get good deals all the time.
Perfect.
Ricky?
Well, he did get a lot of our stuff. That's the cool thing.
Yes, let's go, Ricky.
Rick does
Keep
an
it
amazing
coming.
store.
He was in there looking at
You
us.
guys have definitely great
Amazing,
stores.
yeah.
Rick,
They both have really good stores.
we do say a lot, like when we talk about good game stores, we talk about you guys equally because you are one of the places that does all of the above, right? And I think that's very important for guys.
Yeah, I don't know any
Yeah.
other place that does like vintage shirts and toys and games, all
And-
the stuff we
yeah.
love.
You guys literally do what we love. The only thing you're missing, just one thing, both of you guys, sneakers.
I tried
Ooh.
sneakers.
Oh, it didn't work?
I did. No, that is a whole nother. It's
know.
like
I figured
it's like
because
the
the sizes, it was
tabletop.
going to be like.
It's like the tabletop games. Like
Yeah.
I started doing some sneakers in there, and I was like, okay, I'm
What
out of
about
my
Pogs?
element.
I have
I
boxes.
sold pods. Yeah,
How
I
they
sold
do?
I have
pods
sets.
before.
No, I have sets.
You really
Like,
do?
In one bag is a slammer and 20 and 20, so you can play.
How do those do?
They do great.
You should put up a
Yeah,
you
they're
should
at the
just
front.
put up a stick and a rock and label it vintage toy and see if anybody bites.
It is a vintage toy.
Unlimited
that's,
free
That's the first
free
toy.
inventory. There you go. I like it. Are we out? Curtis, Mr. Producer, are we done, brother?
Yeah, we're done. I want to say thanks for Rick for coming out and doing this
Thank
with
you,
us.
Rick.
Yeah, Rick. He came here just for this.
Just for this.
Not the
Wow.
expo. Just for this.
And big shout out to Beto behind the scenes. And
Beto!
Ben's here as well for the
Ben's
support.
Ben rolled up in a Dodge Viper, guys.
Yeah,
Man,
did.
He's
big flex.
Chris thought he was flexing with a bonk shirt, and then Ben's like, "Come here, nerd."
And last thing to close it out, we got all of our podcasts on audio only, and the link will be in the description. And please download; it really helps out, guys. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Retro Liberty Plus.
Woo!